So how do you feel about the death penalty? Me, I'm all for it in certain situations. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When it comes to the murder of a child, off with their heads. So I am very happy that Tanner Horner, the murderer of Athena Strand, the robber of dreams and and comfort. And I say that because this man was a FedEx driver. Took this baby girl out of her own front yard when he came to deliver her Christmas present. Like, if that doesn't just strip you of all safety, damn. Anyway, he got the death penalty for murdering her, and I just want to walk you through her story a little bit. You know how I do with the facts and the footage. And unlike most of the stories that I tell, most of the true crime stories anyway, we're not left wondering what happened, because it was all caught on the FedEx camera. But I want y'all to notice when we get to the portion of the verdict, which I've already spoiled, he's getting the death penalty, lethal injection. When we get there, I want you to notice how he is looking at the uncle as the uncle gives his speech at the end and speaks about Athena. And, sometimes I guess we wish the killer would look and we're like they were looking down or they didn't have remorse. And we say all this stuff, but I guess we want them to look and pay attention. But this guy, listen, I think he's a psychopath, period. Not just because he murdered her, but how he did it. He doesn't really have a reason. It's just something he did that day. Might have other victims, if you ask me. But all of his activities that you'll see in the truck afterwards, just his whole demeanor when he returned to the scene, way too calm and collected after murdering somebody during your work shift. A little girl, stealing her, just everything about it. And he's just another day. Keep your eye on it. I've said enough. I've already made a whole video. This is just a little insert. So it's time for some true crime. And this one, you're going to want to sit down for. Have the kids leave the room. And if you have a weak heart or stomach, you're going to want to scroll on and skip this one. Her name was Athena Strand. And we're going to start at the beginning as always. Let me just give you a little overview. Try to prepare you as much as I can. Athena Strand was murdered by a FedEx delivery guy. And my heart is so heavy right now because I drive for a living and I fell asleep watching her trial last night, or his trial about her murder. So it's been on my mind, and then just driving tonight, just alone in the car and listening to the sound of the road and the wind and just driving. All I could think about was how that baby had to feel as she was riding in the back of that FedEx truck, dying. So this jackass goes to deliver her Christmas gift, of all things. Mom had bought her a pack of Barbies. It was titled or themed something like Be All You Can Be Anything You Want, something like that, Barbie collection. And Athena never got to see it because Tanner delivered it and then picked her up. Literally, he picked her up and he put her into the back. The last image we have of her is standing at like the opening of the FedEx truck talking to him. We're told she's asking him, where are we going? So he puts her in the back of the truck, and it's all recorded. The jury only got to see it. We got informed of it. We weren't allowed to hear or see it. And that's probably for the best, because we'd all have nightmares. But when this case first broke, a lot of details came out pretty quick. And I did a story all about it. So you'll hear it. But new details have just come out, and y'all, what that baby went through in the back of that truck. You can hear him hurting her. And she's asking, what are you doing? What are you doing? Ouch. My mom says you're not supposed to do this to me. I'm not supposed to do that to you, and you're not supposed to do it to me. Are you a kidnapper? So many disturbing details. He said that he tried to break her neck. Literally. Right? He couldn't do it. He tried. It's not that he didn't have the heart, or that he had a heart and decided not to. He couldn't. He was incapable. So then he choked her out. He put his knee, his body weight, anything he could to try to take her out. She was strong. She wouldn't go. They say that in the audio you can hear her gasping, dying, and then silence. And you think she's gone, and then gasping again. He leaves her in the back of the truck, goes back up front, he's driving. She's crying to the top of her lungs. And since this was just before Christmas, Jingle Bell Rock came on the radio. I probably shouldn't have fallen asleep listening to this. It's stuck in my head. You'd think I watched it 10 times, but just once. And it's etched in my brain. Jingle Bell Rock is playing. She's screaming and dying and screaming for dear life as she's dying. And he starts to sing Jingle Bell Rock to the top of his lungs. So the jury is hearing her screaming, Jingle Bell Rock blaring, and this psycho singing along, yelling to the back, telling her to shut up, shut up, shut up, multiple times, or I'll come back there and hurt you more. See, I think this one is hitting me so hard because if you don't know me, true crime is what I do. And I've done a lot of stories about kids who've been murdered by their parents, boyfriends, girlfriends. You almost never get the whole story of how it all went down. It's like the kid is missing and then they're found deceased. That's how the stories go. Usually not far from home. In a field, in a landfill, in a lake, you know. Rarely do you get to hear them being murdered. Rarely do you get to see The killer cleaning up the back of his FedEx truck at the gas station right after he did it, like he just spilled his Slurpee. Rarely do you get to see images of this baby girl. She wasn't a baby. She was a little girl. Standing there, looking innocent, almost trusting, a little confused, but not knowing that her life will be gone in a matter of moments. And we're looking at her standing here with her killer driving her to her death. Then he tries to lie about it all. Every bit of it. I mean, there was an alter ego that popped up. Initially, I think I remember when the story broke that he said he ran her over and then he got nervous, so he picked her up and threw her in the truck. But at the end of the day, he was a predator on the prowl. And he hunted that baby down, kidnapped her, and murdered her. Your friendly FedEx driver, all in his uniform the whole entire time, all on camera inside the truck the whole time. He finishes his deed, cleans up his truck. I think it's his mom. I can't remember. He calls somebody or they're on the phone. He's already covering his bases. He calls the job and tells them, I got sick. I threw up. Put me in the same truck tomorrow because it stinks. Just a lying ass. Now let me try to show you some clips and bring it all together. I'll see you in the comments, beautiful people.
Prosecutors have arrested their case in the capital murder trial of Tanner Horner, who faces the death penalty after pleading guilty to killing 7-year-old Athena Strand. They saved the most disturbing evidence for last. It was so graphic, the judge barred cameras from the courtroom while it played out. We saw how Horner covered up the dash cam in the FedEx truck he drove and cleared the back of packages before pulling up to Athena's home in Wise County. He showed her the back of the truck, then he put her inside. And this is how we last see her, standing beside him, looking confused and asking repeatedly, "Where are we going?" He then covered up the interior camera, but it was still rolling, and it captured the sounds of him assaulting her. And Horner, he sat with his head down, just feet from the video screen, where images played out of him after disposing of Athena's body, cleaning the back of that truck.
You can see down in the bottom of this picture, what's labeled number 1 from our evidence 10 is that sock that I initially mentioned. And then as you got closer to that sock, you kind of looked around that other building. You could see, if you move up to number 2, that's looks to be child's underwear, from that distance. And then if you move on to where number 3 is, over there, just to the right of the number 3, are small in size, looks like little girls' blue jeans.
And do you recognize this item?
I do. Yeah, this is our, once again, our packaging, our labeling system, and it says item 2, and it's child's white Hanes underwear found behind shed on ground. So it would have matched the description of what we're seeing in the photograph. Used denim jeans with flowers on pocket and one light blue multicolored sock and pant leg found behind shed on ground.
Now, showing on the screen what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 80. And what are we looking at here?
So this was a FedEx shirt that was found in the shed on the bed.
You see the body of this little girl. Describe for the jury sort of where you're seeing the injuries on her body just from first look.
My initial impression, the first thing I thought is that she is completely congested from the neck up, meaning that it's much darker due to blood kind of being in that area of the body. I'm trying to think of a better way to describe congested, but it was just, you could tell that there was something going on in the head and neck area. That's before we even cleaned the body.
And congestion, is that related? It's hard. I want to kind of give a lay person's understanding what that means.
It's the best way to describe it is blood's backed up in the vasculature.
And I'm not sure I understand anymore, but what's vasculature?
So all the blood vessels that circulate blood throughout your body are the vasculature system. So it's arteries, veins, and connecting those two are capillaries.
Give it sort of a synopsis and then maybe also explain as best you can in lay person's terms so we can understand it as well.
Sure, just starting from the top.
Yes.
So basically, I even mentioned that the head and face exhibit trauma. There's generalized congestion of the head and face, which I just mentioned. I note that her hair is blonde and it's wavy and it's long and that it's damp. And then her eyes are green in color. When you look at the whites of her eyes and the lining of her eyes, you see florid petechial hemorrhages, which are florid just means they're everywhere. Petechial hemorrhages specifically refer to these tiny pinpoint hemorrhages that you see throughout the eyes. Let's see. She has her teeth are kind of a mixture of what we call deciduous teeth and erupting adult teeth, which is appropriate for a 7-year-old. The neck has trauma, the chest is trauma, her extremities, so the arms and the legs also show trauma. Her fingernails are all intact, but the fingernails themselves are dirty. The toenails are also short and dirty. The soles of her feet are dirty, but otherwise unremarkable. And then the back has trauma. So again, you can still appreciate the congestion in her head and face, and you can see multiple types of blunt force injuries, essentially from the middle of her upper chest to...
How did it start? Did you say anything to her? Did you explain that you had to do what you had to do? I mean, can you give me something on that?
I just told her to turn around and
You motioned, you choked her? One hand or two hands? Two. But was she facing away from you while you were choking her?
it started off, I tried to
You tried to break her neck?
break her neck, make it as quick and painless as possible, but it didn't work. She started crying. I'm trying to help
Did you just pick her up in the truck, or did you ask her to get in?
I asked her to get in.
Okay, so she listened to you, got in the truck, and then you drive from your route immediately, just start kind of heading back to the station, right?
No. After that, that's when we went down the private road because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do.
Okay. What do you think the time frame was from there? Like,
I don't know.
not very long, like 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes?
I wouldn't know how to.
Okay. But don't worry, we're not going to get
Unless I'm like sitting there looking at the time, I have no idea how much time has passed.
Okay, so
I don't even know how long it's been since you guys stopped me after that delivery.
yeah, okay, so your perception of time is not too good. So you get in the truck, she's standing up talking to you. You gotta drive down the private road, and that's when the voice tells you, hey, you need to hurry up, you need to ready for a ride. No ride, correct, if I'm missing something. And then you ask her to face away from you, and you try to break her neck at first when she started crying. When you said try to break her neck, did you try to spin it, or how did you do that? Spin one hand on the chin, one hand on top of the head, hand on the side of the head, or how? Good. And that didn't work? Good. Yeah, but she was facing away from you when you did that? Okay, so then...
I didn't want her to see it coming at it.
Good. So then...
I couldn't take it if she was sitting there in pain. I wanted to do it as quick as possible and it didn't work. And sorry.
Yeah, and now we accomplished that, trying to find out where she's at, right? We haven't found her yet, or that I know of, so now we're going to get into some of that why. Why did you mainly do her because you didn't want to get in trouble for hitting her with FedEx or legally or what?
Essentially, was panicking, I didn't know what to do, and then it almost seems like it was a dream. For the most part, it just kind of seems like I wasn't, you know what I mean? Seems like I wasn't behind the wheel at the time.
Out of body experience, so to speak.
Almost. But stuff like that's happened my entire life, where like I'll have these like out of body experiences, mostly when I'm like getting in a fight with someone or something like that. But sometimes I'll kind of like phase out and not know what's going on. Other times I'll just kind of be in the back seat almost.
When you were talking to her, did she tell you her name?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Athena.
Okay. Did she tell you her full name or did she just know her first name? Did she tell you her last name or anything?
I mean her last name.
So she just told you her name was Athena? Right.
Which I actually thought that was pretty cool because, I like mythology and stuff like that.
Yeah. So she's still talking to you, and what'd she say?
She was worried that I was getting at her.
And what'd you tell her?
I told her no. She kept asking where we were going. I didn't know what to tell her, so I would just talk to her about random things. I didn't.
It's okay. Speedy and what?
She was a sweet kid.
Okay, so you were in fear, hey, I'm gonna get in trouble for hitting her with my truck. That was your biggest fear. Right, then what happened?
I was driving around for a bit just trying to figure out what I was going to do about the situation.
And what'd she do?
Asking questions, we're just talking at this point.
Yeah, is she sitting down? Is she standing up? Is she in the passenger seat? Where's she at?
She's standing up and she's in the back.
Okay. What's she asking?
Just random things. Like, I just had her talking. It was, I don't know.
And then where'd you go?
We went down this private road and I listened to that little voice again.
What did it tell you? So let's go back to, I know you don't want to, you have a hard time, rightfully so, kind of recall a little bit, but, I'm going to go back and touch on it a little bit, and you try to break her neck, she starts crying. When you start choking her, facing away from you, like you stated earlier, how long did it take her to essentially pass out or stop crying? Was it long, or was it a short period of time? How long do you think?
It's probably about a minute, but it felt like so much longer.
And then she just stopped moving, went limp. I mean, were you all on the ground or was she standing up still? Was she standing up when you were doing it, or did she obviously at some point when she passes out or whatever, had to come to the ground?
She started off standing and then kind of after a while went down.
Okay. And then did she move at all after that?
No, sir. That's when I started moving towards that, I guess it's a county road, the one right across from 2123, that's when I threw her in the bush.
Okay. Now, what was that little voice specifically telling you? Do you remember?
That we needed to stop her from pretty much telling anybody.
Okay. So that was the main concern. That's the whole reason why.
Everything was at risk. My job, my family, everything. I didn't.
You didn't know what to do. You panicked. Right? And then let's talk about how she ended up after you heard her. Where did you take her?
Sat in the private road trying to figure out what I was going to do from that point. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just started heading back to the station. And then when I was driving back to the station, I saw the bamboo and tossed the money in there.
Okay. Obviously, if you tossed her there, we're going to find her. So she's fully clothed, and you mentioned she didn't have any shoes on.
No, she didn't have shoes.
Okay. Wearing socks, barefooted. Okay. You remember what clothes she was wearing?
I mean, I think like shorts or jeans or something.
Okay.
There was a lot going on in my head at the time. I didn't.
Is there any voices telling you anything at that time after you? Just to get her out of the truck or anything like that, or was that just kind of a decision you made?
I just tossed her in. Like, I couldn't just keep running around with the kid in the back like that. I just tossed her in the bush or whatever you want to call it.
And you sure she was not alive at that time?
I was relatively sure.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't check her heartbeat or anything, but I'm relatively sure that she wasn't alive.
Mr. Horner, if you stand, please. The order of the court that you, Tanner Lynn Horner, has been adjudged to be guilty of the offense of capital murder is found by the jury. Jury having answered the special issues, making it mandatory that your punishment be death, it is therefore the order of this court that your punishment be death. Before the hour of sunrise on a date to be determined by this court, upon a mandate of affirmance issued by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals at the State Penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas, you will be caused to die in accordance with the rules and regulations established by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice until you, said Tanner Horner, are dead. Said execution procedure shall be determined and supervised by the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The clerk of this court shall issue a death warrant in accordance with this sentence directed to the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for that purpose. Clerk shall deliver such warrant to the Sheriff of this county and to be by him delivered to the Director of the Department of Criminal Justice together with you, and you will remain to the custody of the Tarrant County Jail to await transportation to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice at Huntsville, Texas, and the execution of this sentence. I will sign this death sentence as required by law.
I'm Elijah Strand. I'm Jacob's brother, Athena's uncle. There are no words that truly capture the devastation that Tanner Horner caused us and our family. What he took from this world is not just a child. He took a life, a future, and a piece of every single person who loved him. He took a granddaughter, a daughter, a niece, a cousin, and a friend. She'd call me Uncle Elijah because she, for the longest time, couldn't say the Elijah part of my name. It was the best thing to see you running up to me with her arms open, yelling Uncle Elijah. And that's one of my last memories I have of it. And now I get to never hear that. Again, he stole a sense of safety from all of us in our family. Me and my wife just got comfortable enough to let our kids play outside, and that's even in their backyard, not close to the road. He's robbed us of safety, peace, and our trust in the world, and forever changed who we are as a family. And we are left to carry grief that never fades. We are left with questions that will still never have answers. And we are left trying to honor a beautiful little girl whose life was taken in the most senseless and horrific way. And a life she'll never get to live because of his actions. Tanner Horner, I want you to hear this directly. You did not just take a life, you destroyed a family. You took a little girl who trusted the world and repaid that innocence with violence. You chose to cause pain that will last generations. You say you found God, but what you did to Athena stands in direct opposition to everything that you now claim to believe. In Matthew 18:6, it says, if anyone causes one of these little ones to stumble, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned. That is how seriously harm against a child is judged. And you will be judged. You will face the wrath of God. But I want you to know that you are nothing. You are a footnote in Athena's story. Her name will forever be remembered. Her name will forever be celebrated, and everyone will forget you. You wanted your 15 minutes of fame. You got it, and no one's going to remember you after this.
And I will be her face, and I will be her voice, and I will make sure that every person in this world knows that she was loved and that she wanted to live.
Hey, could you tell him I need to get through? There's like people in the vehicle in the way. Huh? No, that's the only way out. I have more packages to deliver. That's the only way out. There's like more packages I need to deliver.
You can pull up and try to ask them to get through, but there's been a kidnapping. So it's all blocked off. So you'll have to just pull up and ask them if they'll let you through, but there's been a 7-year-old taken.
Serious?
That's what all this is for.
Sorry about all this about. Are you serious?
So if you pull up and ask the officers right here if they'll let you through, but it's all
is this? What'd you get? Doggy teas?